Okay.
Okay, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to call the special council meeting to order. And with that, we'll recess it until after the Public Works and Transportation Committee, as well as the Parks, Rec, and Cultural Services Committee, both open and closed, and the special closed council have been completed. So back to you, Madam Chair.
All right. Thank you very much, Mayor Brody. I'd like to call the Public Works and Transportation Committee meeting to order today, December 20th. The first item on the agenda is the minutes of the November 22nd meeting. Moved and seconded. All those in favor? All right, that's passed. The next committee meeting will be January 24th at 4 o'clock here in Chambers. Are there any additions or deletions to the agenda? All right. Seeing none, we'll move on to item number 1, which is the TransLink 2024 Cost Share Funding Applications Transportation Projects. And we have Ms. Hingoreni, sorry if I said that wrong, here to speak to it.
Madam Chair, nothing further to add to the report, and staff are available for questions.
All right. Are there any questions? Yeah, Councillor Wolf.
Yes, thank you, Chair. Just to highlight here a couple things. So on our page 10 of the report, under the heading removal of channelized right turns, it's positive to see that the cost sharing can capture that type of a project. I brought it up a week or so ago when we were discussing the potential for red light cameras in the city at some of these intersections that have these channelized right-hand turns. So these ones have the potential to be cost shared with TransLink. Could staff just comment, can the red light cameras be cost shared? Do they fit into this as well?
Through the chair to Councillor Wolf, red light cameras are not part of the scope for these projects. They're under the jurisdiction of the provincial government.
So for the funding of them, the funding would come exclusively to the province?
Through the chair, these projects that TransLink funds are through the municipal grant application process. I'm not aware if they have other programs available for the province.
Okay.
Yeah, if I may, through the chair to Councillor Wolf, the red light camera program is run by ICBC, so they would initiate those projects and programs. So I'm not aware that TransLink helps them fund that, but I don't know that they don't either. So if you'd like, we can certainly ask ICBC if that's a possibility.
Oh, no, that's great. That's what this funding source allows. So I applaud the city for staff for putting all the projects together to be able to get the maximum amount of the $3.8+ million. And also just wanted to highlight the Steveston Highway multi-use pathway. With the previously awarded and the potential TransLink funding going in, that we're sitting at about 75% of it being funded with the project costs as outlined on page PWT 12. So thank you very much, staff.
All right. Are there any other questions on item 1?
Move the motion.
As those seconded, all those in favor? Okay, that's carried. We'll go on to item number 2, which is the award of contract 8157Q, the supply and delivery of janitorial and cleaning supplies. And we have Mr. Lee to answer. Do you want to add anything to the report?
Through the chair, nothing further to add. Happy to answer any questions.
Okay, Councillor Wolf, you have a question?
Yes, thank you. First, staff, thanks for being able to reply right away on my query about this only applies to products that we're purchasing for cleaning, not the labor or staffing. And I just wanted to ask a question on the last page of this report, that attachment 1 on page 21. It highlights in the kind of green yellowish color which ones we're going with. But in the report, it mentions that the choice is made on the lowest price. But if I look at that first column under bag, the second from the bottom, Swish Maintenance Limited, has a lower cost. So I'm curious why that one was not selected. It might have to do with, if you look at the evaluation column, that they have a lower evaluation score. Is that the reason why?
Through the chair, Councillor Wolf. Yes, the overall evaluation score does come into play.
Okay, great, thanks.
Are there any other questions? I just wanted to make a comment. There were 7 vendors that applied for these various bids, and this is a fair and open process, so they will all be notified through BC Bid that they did not get the contract, and it helps those vendors all sharpen their pencils when they can see, as we have on page 21, all of the exact prices that were quoted by each company. So that creates a good economy of scale. And yeah, that's it. Okay, those in favor? That's great. Do we have any managers' reports? Are there any managers' reports? I don't think there are. Okay, move to adjournment. All those in favor? Thanks. Okay, we're going on to the next meeting.
Yep. Okay, so I'm calling the Parks, Recreation, and Cultural Service Committee meeting to order. May I have the motion on the minutes? Move second and call the question. Those in favor, opposed, motion carry. The next meeting is going to be on January 30th, 4 p.m. In this council chamber. Is there any addition or omission to the agenda? Seeing none, so we carry on with the proposed agenda. Item number 1, 2023 Community Service Committee Needs Assessment Study. So first speaker from staff, Mandy. Anything to add to the report or any highlights you want to make?
Nothing further to add to the report, Mr. Chair. Staff are here to answer any questions.
Okay, so any questions? Michael?
Thanks. Thank you. Just through the chair to staff, just a quick one here. Highlight that under the considerations and recommendations, trying to address the low number or lower use of the 16 to 24-year-old. That's a concern that exists, so I'm glad staff are going to be on that. One thing I thought might have been in a recommendation somewhere, and maybe it's fused in there, would be to call for a multi-use rec center. I know that's maybe fits more with the sport facility needs assessment, but just seeing some of the recommendations like on page 15, 3.2, exploring program and service delivery options in innovative ways. That would be within the existing structures and facilities, but I think just having additional pool or rink or multi-use space could be called for in this report. What's your thoughts on that?
Through the chair to Councillor Wolf, certainly the next steps are for us to work with our partners and staff to action the recommendations. Recommendation 3.3 on page 15 does address the need that we need to keep up with our infrastructure. It's highly used and of high quality, and our residents really appreciate it. So consideration of that is certainly within scope.
Okay, yeah, just a final follow-up. I do hear a lot of the challenges residents face when it comes to the booking, when everything has to be booked at that certain time. And recently there was the crash of the system when that was happening. And yeah, so just to identify that there's lots of frustrations that people have because we have such great programs and it's hard to get everybody to sign up for the times that they want. So thank you.
Okay, Andy?
Thanks, and through the chair. Thanks for the report. It was very thorough, and I thought it was really interesting, the very positive response we got from the public, especially because the surveys were some significant numbers, like into the thousands, so the responses can be more meaningful that way with a broader impact on the community. The question I had is, first of all, just about the seniors and the senior community. Was there any particular feedback? I didn't notice in the report where it was kind of singled out, but was that just blended into the community at large, or were there any particular issues brought up that we know about from the senior community?
Through the chair to Councillor Hobbs, many of the findings were across the board of the demographics. So lack of personal time to be able to come to programming. Some seniors in the focus groups identified having caregiving responsibilities and therefore not having the time to come to programs, and lack of awareness. It was, those two were common themes across all the demographics.
Okay, well, that's good in that respect. And the last question I have is just about the issue of disability raised in 2.2. That was one of the areas of concern, if you want to call it that. And I wondered if there was anything specific in that area. I didn't see anything that jumped out at me in the report. So was there something specific, or was that just a general sense or feeling that was reported?
Through the chair to Councillor Hobbs, the question was asking very specifically if there were any barriers to accessing our programs and services based on a physical disability, and 90% of individuals indicated they were not experiencing barriers. There are 10% that did. There weren't any specifics noted, but in terms of our next steps, that is what we will be doing, is doing additional consultation with segments of the population to better understand those needs and barriers.
Okay, well, thank you. Very positive results, though, so thanks for the report.
Yeah, thanks very much. My question also was about seniors, and I appreciate the response there. On our page 18, recommendation 3 and 1.3, I noticed you mentioned 2 languages, but was there any consideration in ethnicity? There are many other groups out there that are actually quite large populations. And, we always talk about Cantonese Mandarin. What about Punjabi and Telugu and some of the other major languages? Have we thought of that? Did we get any response in that? And did we have any multicultural people on the committee?
Through the chair to Councillor McNulty, one of the findings definitely was that individuals who speak a language, primarily a language other than English, Cantonese, or Mandarin, were less likely to use our programs. So as a next step, we certainly will be consulting with those groups specifically to better understand their needs and what they're experiencing in terms of barriers for preventing them to access our programs and services.
Yeah, I guess it's something I think we should be looking to as a city, because the library does very well with the collections, and they have in various language collections, and I think we could follow suit along that on it. Now, where is this, all these results going to now? How are we going to use them?
Through the chair to Councillor McNulty, we will be pulling together resources that we will be sharing with our staff so that they're aware of what the findings and learnings were. We'll be working with our partners, also doing presentations and workshops with them to work through these findings and learnings to move forward the next steps and recommendations. We will be posting a final report on the website so that the public is aware of what the findings were as well.
You keep mentioning our partners. Who are our partners?
Well, community, through the chair to Councillor McNulty, the partners that we work with, so community associations and societies and other stakeholders in the community.
Okay. Will the hard copies be made of this? And I would suggest hard copies be circulated to our partners. Okay.
Yeah. Through the chair to Councillor McNulty, yes. Guides, resources, as well as workshops and presentations, all sorts of ways of disseminating this information.
Okay, thank you.
Good. Well, I think this is a very exciting report. It's good to know that we have very positive feedback and high percentage of usage from our citizens on our programs. Now, I want to raise a question. I know that staff is trying to not only measure the outcome, I mean the output, but we will try to measure the impact of such programs on the quality of life of the people using them. So it's a kind of an outcome measure. So it was briefly touched in the report, but I want to ask, what will be our next steps to try to measure the outcome of the programs, and is staff aware of any kind of tools to measure those kind of outcome?
To the chair, certainly a few of the recommendations are related to identifying divisional and departmental level metrics with the purpose of understanding outcomes to our community. We did have a few questions very specifically focused on that, and very positive results from the community in terms of their perceptions of the outcomes and the quality of the programs and how that helps with their physical health. In terms of developing metrics, we certainly will be looking to the program planning, implementation, and evaluating different touch points and different opportunities to connect with our community to understand what impacts our programs are having, with the ability to inform outcomes as well as planning for programs.
Good, thank you very much. So are there further comments or questions? There's no. Moved, seconded. Call the question. Those in favor, opposed, motion carry. Moving on to item number 2, Terra Nova Rural Park Historical Assets Program, Plan Guidance Principle and Next Steps. So Alex, anything to add to the report or any highlights?
Good afternoon, and no, I have nothing further to add, and I'm happy to answer any and all questions.
Okay, Michael?
Thank you, through the chair. Just a question to staff on this one. To lead off, I guess I'd like to know, how does the Terra Nova Slough habitat enhancement, which was in our 5-year capital plan that we just approved for about $500,000 to go towards that in 2027, how does that fit into this?
Through the chair to Councillor Wolf, this report and this program plan specifically is focused on the programming and activation of the Heritage Precinct area and the activities in the park. Of course, in the context of the park is the Terra Nova Slough itself. At this time, as you noted, it is part of the 2027 capital budget plan, and it would proceed in coinciding with the dike upgrades in the area.
Okay, then just to follow up, I've looked through all the remaining outstanding referrals that we haven't heard back from, and there's nothing in there on the Terra Nova Slough habitat project. So I just don't want it to be lost. So I guess a question to you would be, will it come back when the next steps of the Terra Nova Rural Park Historical Asset Program comes? Or does it need to be a separate referral that we can make today? Or is there another master plan for Terra Nova that it will be part of?
Through the chair to Councillor Wolf, thank you for your question. As my colleague here has noted, previously in the 2021 report, we've noted that the Terra Nova Slough would be put forward in future capital submission. For additional detail, right, in coordination with other city departments, we want to manifest one of the council strategic direction, which is to manage financial, to be responsible in financial management. So with that, we want to coincide with the upcoming dike project. So in discussing with engineering department, we know that construction won't start until soon as 2027. So we want to align with that. With the Terra Nova Slough project, some portion of that would be breaching the dike. So we want to be synergized in that respect.
Okay, great. I appreciate both of you and the responses. Thanks.
Okay, thank you. Bill?
Yeah, thanks very much. Actually, quite interesting. Appreciated the report. I just want one thing. We're calling this the Terra Nova Rural Historic Assets Program, historic. And I guess from a historic point of view, some of the structures that are there were brought in from elsewhere. They didn't exist there, and unfortunately, I think we're kidding ourselves to a certain extent. Is there any thought of, because it was an extremely historic part of Richmond in its history, in that it was the Reeve Garrett's farm at one time, and also the Terra Nova Cannery was there. And the cannery house was brought in there. I don't know where we got it from, but it wasn't from the Terra Nova. So I'm just wondering if there's the opportunity to put some signage up there and to look at it as a historical area, especially for those that are doing walking, and even more signage with regard to what we did with the growers, as you well know, and those Ducks Unlimited and others. So I just wondered, on that, I'm reading page 25, and it's somewhat limited in the historical concept of Terra Nova, and I'm trying to embellish that, and it's a part of history I don't think Richmond should want to lose.
Through the chair to Councillor McNulty, yes, in short. The purpose of the report is to focus on guiding principles and moving along towards zeroing in on better programming, which would include recognition of the heritage assets and informing park visitors of that rich history.
Excellent, thank you.
Carol?
Thank you very much. Through the chair, I see this exciting project is in phase 2, which includes public engagement, and there's going to be an open house. Do you know when that's going to be, approximately?
Through the chair to Councillor Day, with the passage of this report, should that be the direction from council, we'd be entering into phase 2 in the new year. And at this time, we do not have a firm date, but as outlined on page 26, we're looking at, I guess, the first quarter in early January.
Excellent, look forward to that. Thank you.
Allow me to correct that. Early in the new year, not early January. Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay, very good. Well, I have to add that I think this is a very good report and it points some very important aspects of the area. I echo what Councillor McNulty has mentioned. I'm also concerned about the buildings as listed on page 25. I hate to see that some of the buildings were in poor condition, or they are not they're being vacant. And I want to avoid the situation that we have in Stevenston, the First Nations bunkhouse, which we have kept in place but not really restore or upkept. So I hope that we can move forward with some of this renovation or other things to keep them not to turn into, or not to deteriorate into a stage that we have to demolish them. So I hope that in the next stage we can do some assessment on those structures and their situations. Okay, having said that, there's a recommendation from staff. Move, second, call a question. Those in favor, opposed, motion carry. Moving on, item number 3, 2024, Engaging Artists in Community Program Public Arts Project.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I'm here to present the report, nothing to add, and here to answer your questions.
So any questions, comments? Carol?
Thank you very much, Chair. On page 40, it states that there's 3 locations, Aspire Richmond, Dixon Richmond Elementary, and Richmond Nature Park. And then it says that artists residing in British Columbia. Would you give preference to a Richmond artist?
Through the chair to Councillor Day, Richmond artists are definitely welcome to apply and are considered as in the same way as all the other artists are considered for this opportunity.
Yes, I'd like to see some preferential treatment for local artists whenever possible. Thank you.
Okay, further questions or comments? Move the recommendation. Move, second, call the question. Those in favor, opposed, motion carry. Moving on to the last item on the agenda. Item 4, 2024 Community Mural Programs Projects. Move, seconded. Further comments, questions? Seeing none, call the question. Those in favor, opposed, motion carry. Okay, I understand there's no manager's report. Okay, so can I have a motion to adjourn? Adjourn. So we can move into the closed meeting.